The heart of your teams, the heart of Southern California, Valley Sports West, the heart of the fan.
Halos look to stay hot as they open up a 7-game road trip tonight in Chicago, and what an aesthetically pleasing 5-game stretch they just finished. Everything working in concert to produce a 5-game winning streak to send them out on the road. Welcome to Angels Live, presented by your Southern California Cadillac dealers here on Valley Sports. Here's what's coming up on the program. The Angels taking a 5-game win streak into the Windy City. The Angels also boosting MLB's most productive outfield. We'll check in with our broadcast team to take a deeper dive into that. And then, of course, a welcome sight for Angel fans, the return of David Fletcher. And welcome everybody inside our studios alongside the 13-year MLB veteran, Denny Hocking. I'm Steve Quis. We're a couple of newbies here, so bear with us. You know what we are? We were talking about this off camera. We're like when CBS has a 6th NFL game on Sunday, we're your Jacksonville Jaguars crew, right?
I love it, you know, but just happy to be here. And welcome to you as well.
Thank you. We don't, of course, get the Bears-Packers, right? We got to work our way out there. All right, so this team is off to a tremendous start here coming into this road trip with 5 consecutive wins.
Yeah.
Your thoughts as they just sweep Cleveland Guardians at home?
You know, having an opportunity to be a part of the broadcast team in spring training, I really enjoyed watching them play. They're playing the game efficiently. They're throwing the ball over the plate. They're taking dominant at-bat after dominant at-bat, and that's what they did in spring training.
Yep.
And then being from the 30,000-foot view that I've been at as the season started, watching them go 13-7, they've done the same thing, so it's been a lot of fun to watch.
We talked about things being in concert, obviously. That would be great starting pitching, great bullpen, fielding, hitting. Tonight, though, a little bit of a roadblock as they go out on the road, and that's Noah Syndergaard. He'll be scratched with a stomach bug. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Joe Madden goes about it. I think they're going to go with an opener in Joe Herget, But it's not only are they going to have to fight that, but they're going to have to fight some weather on this road trip. So there are some obstacles they're going to have to deal with. But Joe's got these guys turning on all cylinders. He should take care of it.
So it's the second road trip of the season for the Halos here. The first one, okay. This one has the potential because Chicago's not playing well, and then you get Boston on the back end as they go out on the road.
What do you want to look at? Do you want to look at current stuff, or do you want to look at, past in the history? So you're looking at the 4-game set. We got the Angels have 4 games here in Chicago. Then they take it further east out to Boston. 2 teams that were in the playoffs last year. But you're right, Steve. They are struggling this year, and it's just another opportunity. So the first obstacle when I look at the season was the Astros 2 times on the schedule early. This is the next obstacle that they're going to have to overcome. But the way they're playing right now, they're going about their business. It could potentially be a really good road trip.
White Sox are really scuffling. This is a good time to get them, although the weather, there may be some rain tomorrow, so you might be looking at a doubleheader coming up on Sunday, which is never really good when you've got, a short time between spring training and the start of the season. We can talk about that coming up later. But there was so much to applaud in this 5-game winning streak, and one would be the play of Taylor Ward, get him up off the top spot and paying dividends for his skipper.
Yeah, he has been incredible. He started off with just, when he was in spring training, I had the opportunity to really get a close look at him. His at-bats would just get better and better, and they were so consistent. And when I talk about him hitting, what I look at is just how efficient he moves his body. He's using the whole field. He's staying in the middle. He's hitting fastballs. He's hitting breaking balls. It doesn't matter where you throw him. The 4 homers, the 11 RBIs. I mean, he is in for a really big year. And if he continues to do this, there's probably going to be conversations at the end of the year like, wow, he reminds us a lot of other guys that have done that in their short period of time.
I'm not sure. Do you have your real estate license at all?
I do not.
Okay. You know a little bit about real estate, though?
I do.
It's all about pulling comps, right? When you're trying to, I know you're South Orange County, so there's a lot of big comps down there. We pulled one comp here for Taylor Ward that is exciting and off the charts exciting, and that would be to the start, and these numbers are remarkable. This is the start of Mike Trout's 2021. Of course, it was interrupted by injury, but look at what young Mr. Ward is off to.
It is such a mirror image of what Mike Trout has already done last year to the start, and everything is just so impressive. You look at the on-base percentage, you look at the slugging percentage, the RBIs. Okay, sure, Mike had 11 and Taylor's got 8. He's also hitting out of the leadoff spot. But he is a consummate professional hitter right now, and I think a lot of what he's having success this year on, I'm going to look back at last year and Mike when he was dealing with his injury and not being able to produce and play for the Angels. Maybe he was sitting there talking to these young players and just saying, you know, I can help you in this way. Be ready for this. And really kind of being that coach. He's always the coach on the field, but yet not having the opportunity to be on the field through that injury. He could have been coaching these guys up in the dugout. And I think that's really where all this boils back down to, is Mike Trout being that leader, the consummate leader every single day.
These guys in the outfield are playing well right now, and he's part of a darn good outfield. And it's a pretty deep outfield as well, something you don't see a lot in Major League Baseball. Let's send it out to the two guys who are going to call this game at Guaranteed Rate Field, and that would be Patrick O'Neill and Mark Gubicza. Gentlemen.
What's happening, guys? Thanks so much. Yeah, hanging out with Gooby on the road, the start of a 7-game trip here in Chicago, South Side against the White Sox. Those guys are talking about the outfield of the Angels. And, you know, we like stats. We like all those fancy numbers. WAR. I mean, this outfield is #1 in all of baseball. They're just getting it done on both sides of the ball.
The batting average, OPS, and WAR. I mean, and no one's really even close to what they've done and what they've produced so far, from Taylor Ward to, of course, Mike Trout and Brandon and Marsh and Joe Adell. They've all done a tremendous job as far as driving the baseball with authority, coming up with some RBI situations and getting the job done. They're running very well. They're doing a lot of things exceptionally well. When you look at what their batting average is so far this year, 325, the outfield. The next closest, Kansas City, at 288. It's that much of a difference between the Royals in second place as far as batting average and the Angels in the outfield. I'm looking for a sequel there, Patio, where they're going right now. But I just saw the way they're driving, especially with that series they had against the Guardians at home, where they were hitting home runs, power, RBIs, a lot of success, and they were playing some solid defense, too.
Just a single one particular player out, and that being Brandon Marsh. He had 3 knocks last night, and we talked about this on the flight coming over. The Angels won that game, and they didn't hit many baseballs hard, right? 2 of them by Brandon Marsh. Not only offensively, he's really coming into his own, but he runs everything down.
Yeah, he's a great defender out there in the outfield. We always joke around about Taylor Ward. He's like a torpedo out there. He's trying to get everything possible. He's running as fast again. He goes, every once in a while I have to wait and see that Mike Trout is going to call some of those baseballs off, so I got to get out of the way, let Trout go out and play center field, because he's the quarterback of the defense. But guys, what they're doing so far offensively, and they're patient at the plate, they're getting on base as far as on-base percentage, along with that slugging. They're doing everything extremely well.
All right, we're looking forward to calling this game, game 1 of 4 against the Chicago White Sox. I'm wearing a sweater. Apparently it's not really cold here, but as we send it back to the temperate controlled studio there in West Los Angeles, to Steve and Denny. Quis, don't let Hawking off the hook there, all right? He's in the studio for the first time. Get him up out of that chair, move him around a little bit, put him to work.
He did say he wanted to do some stretches and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I need to get loose. Let's go.
He needs it.
All right. I was going to say that was a great sweater right there.
You know, Patrick, you know, but it's funny. Look at how happy he is. Gooby has got his work cut out for him with Patrick, you know? It's like that little kid that's running around. Let's go see this. Let's go see that.
I was thinking of Dumb and Dumber. Cardigan? No, it's a pullover, but thanks for asking. Let's talk about Mike Trout now and get a deeper dive into what he's done. Crunching some of the numbers and looking at the data that we got today, there isn't a pitch that you can sneak past him right now as he comes off of injuries, kind of going all Vladimir Guerrero Sr. on us in the way he's hitting the baseball these days.
And when you watch Mike Trout, and I like to say that elite athletes move in elite ways, and there is absolutely zero extra movement when Mike Trout is hitting. So he's in the batter's box, he's got that little foot tap as he's going. A lot of times he'll hit his hip afterwards, but he is so much on time right now. And I think it goes back to the time that he missed last year, and just knowing how he could have been such an influential player for what the Halos were trying to do. That time, he's making up for lost time. And I remember in spring training, he even said that. He's like, I've got some unfinished business. And I think as opposing pitchers throughout the major leagues probably don't like to hear that too much. I mean, 352 to start, 5 homers, 10 RBIs. He is barreling up every single pitch that comes his way. And like you said, too, Steve, you know, he's not just the patient hitter. He's patient to his pitch. and it just speaks volumes to the education of what he's doing this year.
Quickly, can you read anything into shortened spring, right? It looks like the hitters are a little bit ahead of the pitchers.
I think they are, and because you're able to sit there as a hitter and you can replicate stuff. So you can go and take live at bats when you're at home while you're not in spring training. I think it's easier for hitters to get ready because you can face velo and you can be prepared for that, as opposed to hitters. And I can remember talking to pitchers about this at points. You can stand in and have guys face you. But if you throw a bad pitch and a guy hits a ball in the cage, you're not getting the ball back from the umpire. So bringing some realness to it, I think it's a lot easier for the hitters than the pitchers.
All right, we're off to a good start as we get you set for Game 1 of a 3-game series against the White Sox. We talked a lot about the outfield, the hitting, which was incredible over this 5-game winning streak. But how about the pitching? Of course, there's a scratch tonight with Noah Syndergaard. We'll discuss that in further detail next on Angels Live. Okay, so coming back, starting pitching. Okay, so welcome back to Angels Live on Valley Sports. I got a little sweat going. Yes, well, I was trying to figure. Where's it going?
I was trying to get to Walsh, and I always get Walsh and Marsh, and I'm like,
Marsh and Walsh. I know. Wade and the other guy. Wade and Ward. Okay.
Too many TWs.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to Angels Live here on Valley Sports. Angel Baseball presented by your Southern California Cadillac dealers. Back inside our studios here, Steve Quis alongside Danny Hopking, getting you set for Angels and White Sox. Game 1 of 3 coming up from the Windy City. Okay, segment number 2 belongs to the pitchers because they were incredible, especially in that series against the Cleveland Guardians. I got to give a shout out to my fellow Fullerton High School alum, Mike Lorenzen, there for doing what he was doing and outstanding pitching to start that 4-game series.
It's been incredible to watch just their maturation process from the early spring training to into the season with the homestand and then going on the road. It's been so fun to watch. But it's almost like, well, what's that old saying, like when you're competing with somebody, you sit there and you go, hey, nice job, hold my beer. So that's what these guys are sitting there doing. They're competing against each other, and they've just been so impressive. So Lorenzen has just been pounding the zone, and what I've been super impressed with is just how they're able to use their 3-pitch mix, their 4-pitch mix. Being able to cut balls, being able to slide balls, being able to change speeds has been super impressive. And then you've got Sandoval, who just, he is the consummate, just make the pitches look like strikes and have them fade out of the strike zone. Being able to get swings and misses is critical when you're a starting pitcher. It allows you to go deeper into games. And then, of course, you've got Shohei elevating this fastball. This is one of his best starts. I know he's had 4. The start in Houston was great, but I think in the other 3, this was his most impressive. I think he had the most command. I think he had the most ability to be able to repeat strike zone pitch after strike zone pitch. And then obviously in the 4th game, it's just what the Angels are doing right now is they're pounding the strike zone. So when you're a guy like Reed Detmers, you see everybody that's holding serve in front of you, and you're like, okay, I want to continue. I want to pounce on that. I want to be able to pitch better than that. So these guys are all competing with one another in order to see who's going to be the best in that week.
So Syndergaard is out, if you haven't heard the top story, the breaking news, if you will, with a stomach bug. So that means an opener here tonight, and we get a chance to see Jimmy Herget. We thought it was going to be Jaime Barria at first, but it looks like Joe is going to go with Jimmy Herget as his opener, and he's only made one start from what I understand in his entire career.
51 appearances so far in his career. He's got one start back in 2020 with the Texas Rangers. It's interesting because I look back and when Joe was in Tampa Bay, I think he was the OG that started the opener. So as he sits there, so this is maybe unfamiliar territory with the Angels, but I think it's familiar territory with Joe. And there was some probably discussions about how they're going to navigate this situation, as well as maybe the weather for tomorrow. So, you know, throwing Jimmy Herget out there, he's got 8 appearances this year. He's gone 8 1/3 and 10 strikeouts in those 8 innings. This might be a situation where they maybe extend him a little bit.
Yep.
But Joe's so in command of everything that he's doing. I'm sure he's got a plan. I'm sure it's going to work out.
I was really excited to actually see Noah go out there because, you know, he lost his last start. It hasn't been up over 90 pitches yet, but I thought maybe, you know, start number 4 right here, he'd just take it up another step. He's been getting a lot of swings and misses. He's been staying down in the zone, so it would have been fun to see him. And maybe if there's a doubleheader, perhaps we get a chance to see him if he's feeling better on a Sunday, of course, weather permitting. All right, David Fletcher has been activated. We got a chance to see him at the beginning of the season. He was off to a rather difficult start at 1 for 13, goes on IL, and now comes back, hopefully ready to jump in. He'll be at the bottom of the order, but, I mean, this is the perfect lineup to jump back into right now, isn't it?
It really is, and it's an opportunity for Fletch to come back and be who he really is. You know, he's that consummate defender. You got to remember, David Fletcher has been talked about Gold Gloves at third base, at shortstop, at second base. He's a guy when he gets in the batter's box, he can handle the bat, he can do anything. He's never going to miss a sign. And Fletch is one of those glue guys. So he's going to glue that lineup together. When you hit him down at the bottom of the order, you know he's going to flip that lineup and get back to the Wards, the Trouts, the Rendones, the Otanis. I think they've missed his opportunity to be in the lineup. I'm excited. I'm a Fletch guy. I'm excited to see him back in the lineup tonight.
And such a big spot, right? You said number 9. Reiterate again. You're turning that thing over to get to Ward, who's been incredible, and Trout and Ohtani. I mean, that is more than a pressure spot than a lot of people realize, correct?
You know, when you go back to the National League last year, even before they implemented the DH, you know, you've got that 8 spot. How can you have that at bat to be able to flip that lineup? And Fletch is so good at it. But another guy who's been really good at it has been Wade. He's been phenomenal at using his speed, using his skill set to handle the bat, to drop bunts down. So Fletch is back, and I can't wait to watch him flip that lineup and get to the big boys at the top.
So big breaking story here in Los Angeles as we were driving into the studio today, and that would be one Trevor Bauer, who now Major League Baseball has made it official. They're going to suspend him for 2 seasons. This is something we have not seen before. I mean, unprecedented is the word that a guy is away, especially without any charges and nothing criminally coming of this case.
It's so interesting. You know, I believe he's the 16th player who has been suspended, and Major League Baseball has the autonomy to be able to do what they want as far as suspension goes without criminal activity, you know, being accused of something. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, and from what I've seen of Trevor Bauer in the past, social media, things like that, I think he's going to be at the forefront of this. I think he's going to appeal, and I don't think we're seeing a quick end to this anytime soon.
Will cost him 300-plus games. Quickly, your thoughts, because you played 13 years. What's the union going to say about this? They're in an interesting spot with where we are in America these days.
They certainly are, and it's one of those things where, you know, Trevor is part of the union, and the union is going to have to represent him. But I think there's some sticky situations here. But one thing I truly believe is this thing's going to play out. No one's going to rush to judgment or anything like that. I know it's been going on since last April and May. This thing doesn't have a near future to it, but I think every rock will be unturned.
Dodgers going to get that salary off the books as well. We take a break, and when we come back, our next segment, we'll talk about the opponent to open up this 7-game road trip. That would be the Chicago White Sox, who have been scuffling over the course of the last 2 weeks. Angels Live continues after this. Angels Live on Bally Sports brought to you by Jerome's. Catch the Angels action from Jerome's. Best seat in the house. Sign up for a chance to win at jeromes.com. You're looking at the outside of Guaranteed Rate Field. I've been there so many times, it's been like a different name each time I've gone there. Angels and White Sox on Angels Live coming up here shortly. It's a good time to get the White Sox. They got off to a 4-1 start. They were really good last year, but now they've lost 10 of their last 11 games, and quite frankly, they're not scoring runs.
They're really not scoring runs, and it goes back to something that Joe Madden said at the end of the Guardians series was it's a really good team over there. We just caught them at a good time. I think this kind of falls into play with what Joe was talking about how the White Sox have been playing. 1-9 in their last 10, and you're right, Steve, 2.4 runs. I mean, that's not going to get it done against most teams. It's certainly not going to get it done against this Halos teams right now. But the one glaring thing is they're not taking care of the baseball. If you're not scoring runs, that's fine. But if you're kicking the ball all over the ballpark like they have in their 16 errors in their last 10 games, that's free bases. Free bases lead to runs. Runs leads to losses, and that's where they're sitting right now.
And Tim Anderson, who's a great defender, already has almost as many errors as he had all of last year at the first month of the season. Okay, so the pride of Harvard Westlake High School, Lucas Giolito, short outing in Minnesota, but it was a productive outing. He'll be on the bump facing the Halos.
Yeah, I think it was 9 strikeouts last time he went out, a short outing, just to kind of get his feet back under him after spending a little bit of time on the IL. He's got a tough task, though, today. The Halos have been swinging it really well. The only thing that concerns me about Giolito is he's a short-arm guy. So sometimes when it's a short-arm guy, the arm doesn't get that extension, so when the velo kind of plays up. So as you're a short-arm guy, it reminds me a lot of Kenny Hill back in my days when I played, where that velo kind of gets on you.
Yeah.
It usually surprises you that first time through the order, but that second time, you're pretty dialed into it.
And you know your stuff, too, because you were also a manager of the minor leagues for many years, despite playing 13 years of MLB. All right, we'll get you set with the starting lineups and more. Final segment of Angels Live coming up right after this.
All right. I was supposed to go down the entire lineup. And
Batting second.
reading's tough for me.
Number
Come on.
7, Taylor Ward. 7, Ward.
Now batting.
Now batting.
Shortstop. You know that story of that guy had died? And
Oh, yeah, and Jeter wanted Okay. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Enjoy the game. See you on Angels Live afterwards. Welcome back to Angels Live here on Bally Sports. Angels baseball presented by your Southern California Cadillac dealers. Looks like the weather's starting to move in. Let's take a look at the Angels starting lineup for Game 1 of this 3-game series. And what stands out? I think I'm looking down to the number 9 spot. That stands out to me. How about you, Denny Hockey?
obviously Fletch about to get his hit on in this series, in this road trip. But what I really think right here is Rendon, man. I'm ready for him to take off.
Yep, I think he's ready as well. And this is a good spot for him. He is always raked here on this side, the south side of Chicago.
He has, 318 against the White Sox all his time with the Nationals. The thing that I notice about his numbers here is coming off of the homestand where you have a green backdrop. In Chicago, it's a black backdrop, so maybe he sees the ball a little bit better with black backdrops.
And the weather going to get a little bit cooler here. Those poor White Sox, I don't think they've played a game over 62 degrees so far, and it's showing with their win-loss record. So not sure if there'll be a lot of long balls in the Windy City. But we hope you enjoy the game. The first of a 7-game road trip, game 1 of 3 against the White Sox as the Halos try and stay hot and win their 6th straight. Enjoy the game. We'll see you afterwards on Angels Live.